Hello everyone and welcome to God Breakers. Today we're going to break some gods only using one element. The plan is to use a dot build and focus on only poison. So, start off in any world, but I recommend that you start off in Merrick. Those enemies are easy to deal with and gives you ample time to set up your build. If you have the option at the beginning of your run, ensure that you pick up the poison equipment. This will serve as the beginning of your single element build. And now as I fight through these enemies, let me tell you what we're aiming for. Starting with the shoulders, you're going to want the indirect approach fragment. This fragment increases your dot damage by 50%, but it comes at the cost of your direct damage being decreased by 20%. Now if you upgrade it, the dot damage will be increased by 100%, but your direct damage will be decreased by 30%. Now you may think, what if I want to attack? With this build, you won't. Now let's say you weren't able to get the indirect approach fragment. The next best thing would be the Damocles Strike fragment or the Noxious Discharge fragment. The Damocles Strike fragment makes it to where all your air attacks apply 1 stack of Doom. If you upgrade it, it applies 2 stacks of Doom every single strike. Now what is Doom? Doom increases the amount of damage received by 1% per stack. That might seem like nothing. However, enemies can't remove this, and that includes bosses. So, you could get the same effect of the indirect approach, but it wouldn't really be a one element run if you were to use Doom. This is where Noxious Discharge comes into play. Noxious Discharge makes every time you God Break, the main ability of the game, do poison damage. If you upgrade it, it'll also make your poison 100% stronger. However, the shoulders aren't what make the build. What makes the build is the chest fragment. Toxic Torments increase poison apply chance by 1% for each necrotic runes and heat dispersal that you have. Yes, that makes it to where you can apply burning or decay, but that's what we want. What makes this especially good is when you upgrade it, you get a DOT immunity, which makes it to where all DOT damage cannot be applied to you, which may seem pointless, but you have to remember, you don't have that much health, so you need to take all the help that you can get. Some of you are going to say that the arms fragment, Permatox, is what really makes this build, and I can see a valid argument for that. Permatox makes it to where your poison deals 100% more damage, but all other dot damage is decreased by 20%. And in this build, since we're only dealing poison damage, it doesn't matter that our dot is decreased by 20%. So you might as well upgrade it, get that 200% stronger poison damage, and also make it to where your poison applies vulnerable. Now, the reason why it isn't the mainstay of the build is without the chest fragment, you're also going to have a chance to deal decay and burning, which is not what we want. We want only poison. Now, with those 3 pieces of equipment, you're already dealing up to 300% more poison damage, you have an immunity to all dot, and you automatically apply vulnerable, which makes your poison even stronger. You may be asking, where do we go from here? And you have a few options. Now for the legs fragment, you have a few good choices, but the 2 that I recommend would be Assured Agony and Viper Strike. Assured Agony, which gives you a 5% good chance, makes it to where your crit will apply 1 random dot to your target. You can upgrade this to where it applies all 3 dot and then is no longer a guessing game. I would personally go with the Viper Strike, which makes your crit deal poison damage. Not only that, if you upgrade it, your dash attacks against already poisoned enemies have a 30% higher crit chance, which means you can just reapply the poison. The last 4 fragments basically cover every base that we need to worry about. And the feet fragment, it's not really that needed for this build, so you could really do this run without it. But the best thing you could get would be Vampiric Poison. This makes it to where your poison damage has a 5% chance to trigger a leech for you and your allies within a 5-meter radius, and the chance is increased by 1% per Band-Aid's Blessing that you have. Now, that doesn't seem like much, and this is why you should upgrade it. This extends the leech area to 10 meters, and Band-Aid's Blessing is increased by 3% instead of 1%. Like I said before, the Feet Fragment isn't really that helpful, so you can really use any of the Feet Fragment as long as it's within your playstyle. With all those fragments out the way, I do have to warn you about Calamity Charge. This makes it to where your charge attacks consume all your dot damage, And yeah, you can upgrade it to where it can reapply that dot, but I still don't recommend you get it, because the goal is to defeat those bosses with poison and not with your attack. That's the build. Fairly simple, but those are rare fragments, so as long as you get the arms and chest fragment, you should be fine. So let me show you some gameplay of this build at its finest. And since you're a perfect gamer, you got Flawless Break, because guess what? You never fail. Now, for the final planet, should be relatively easy, you know. It's only psychedelics.
We're not here for some couples therapy. I don't know why you bother with these two clowns.
Just inhale deeply and exhale into a killing blow.
broken fragments joined anew, essences mingling in new and unforeseen ways. Will you be the crucible for this great work? Will you be the one to set the world in motion once more?
And since you're a perfect gamer, you shouldn't need to buy a healing coil.
I have been examined.
What is a human?
for watching my one element run of God Breakers. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any suggestions for what my next video should be, let me know down in the comments below. But with that being said, have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good evening.